I will be showing how to make the cacti or succulent in a pinch pot. Now, the first thing we want to start with is making our pinch pot. We take our clay and we roll it into a ball. You can kind of hit it. You can roll it in your hands. I kind of squeeze it together. You can roll it on the table. Doesn't have to be perfect, but when it's in a ball shape. Next, we take our thumb and we push our thumb in our pinch pot. Very important, I did not make a hole. I only pressed to make an opening, right? We want a pot, we don't want a big donut where everything will fall out. So now I'm gonna take my hand and I'm going to pinch my clay. I'm starting to make the hole bigger and the walls skinnier. I pinch and turn. It's very important that you are pinching the bottom, the sides, and the top. A lot of people end up having a ton of extra clay on the bottom because they didn't pinch far enough down. I want my edges of my pot to be pretty equal in size. I don't want it really thin in one part, okay? If your clay is getting too dry, like you see how mine is cracking, I'm gonna get some water to spray it. I can help smooth it out a little. So there's my pinch pot, right? I have the bottom and the sides all the same thickness. So there's not a bunch of extra on the bottom where some people run into a problem. Okay, I could practice smoothing it. I could take my time to make sure my pinch pot looks super awesome. Okay, then I'm going to use my tools like the straw and the toothpick to add designs. We only want to add the designs on this side, in the side band, because we're going to be writing our name on the bottom so that we know exactly whose it was. And then we're going to be adding our cacti or succulent on the inside. So the outside, when we add our designs, you could do something simple. Kind of need to smooth mine out a little bit more. For your designs, you could do something simple because really you want to be spending the majority of your time building your succulent because we only have one day for the clay. So I'm probably just going to do kind of like maybe some zigzags. Remember, when you're using your tools, it's important to only press down lightly because otherwise I will carve, like this is what not to do. If I carve too hard, it will go all the way through and I'll make a hole. I don't want a hole. I just want my designs, right? I don't want to be carving my pinch pot in half. I just want to add a little pizzazz. So I added like a zigzag design all the way around. I could add like some polka dots. Remember, I'm pressing lightly because otherwise I'll make a hole all the way through. Now, to add the succulent or cacti, we've already designed it, right? We already kind of know what kind we want. We're gonna take our clay and we need to make it thin. So when I make a cactus, I'm kind of pinching it because I'm gonna kind of do the cactus that has like little bulbs, and I'm forgetting the name of it at the moment. But it kind of has like little pieces connected like off to the side. The most important thing to remember is that everything needs to be fully attached. So I We don't want little bits of our cactus falling off, right? So, and really the best tool to use is your hands. I have the other ones, I have the straw, I have the toothpick, but my hands are always going to be the best tool to use. So I'm kind of pinching my cactus shape. Might have it split off a little bit. And I'm imagining what it will look like, right, once I attach it in here. Okay, it would be kind of like this. I want to add a little bit more. I think my hands are very dry. My clay's drying out really fast. Okay, I want to kind of maybe add a little bit on this side too. The great thing about anything from nature is that every single one looks different. So it can kind of take its own shape as you're working, because no two cactuses, no two succulents are alike. So I'm liking this so far. I think I'm gonna have some, right now mine is totally like flat, right? I think I kind of want some to come off in the other directions. So I can continue to add more, or I could kind of bend it in different directions. But I think I kind of want to add some more on top. So you could see I smoothed, I kind of pushed together the clay. When I can't see that line anymore, I know that it's fully attached. So I'm thinking that it will be sitting upright like this. So this will be the top up here. And then I could have a few little pieces of my cactus kind of coming off in this direction, off to the side. Okay, see how I'm smoothing it together? Because I need it to be fully attached or it will fall off in the kiln. Okay, it's all about pushing the clay and molding it into the shape you want. So I'm kind of pinching it skinnier in some places because the type of cactus I'm making grows almost like in bulbs. That's my cactus so far, right? It would look like that. Boop. Right now, if I put my cactus and it touches the bottom, it makes it a little short. We're gonna kind of build up our cactus. We're gonna make some little rocks. And all I'm gonna do to make a rock, roll it into a ball, push it down. The only reason I'm pushing it totally is so that this won't fall out of my pot later. I don't wanna lose the little rock. I don't wanna shake my pinch pot and everything come falling out. So I just kind of push it on one side so that it still looks like a rock when you're looking from the top, but then this side is fully attached, so it's not gonna move. And I'm just building up, so now my cactus can sit up a little bit more, so it's poking out more from my pinch pot, right? I don't want it to be hiding, sitting all the way down in there. And we know that real cacti and real succulents are in soil and rock, so they wouldn't just be in an empty pot. The most important thing is that I'm gonna poke holes in these rocks. Just the rocks. Did I poke any holes in my wall? No. The reason why I wanna poke the holes is because sometimes when we have a big chunk like this, it could blow up in the kiln, like poof, explode. I do not want it to blow up in the kiln because all my hard work on my cactus would be blown up with it. It also kind of helps it look a little bit more like soil, right? So why did I add holes? And the answer is because I don't want this ball of clay to explode in the kiln. So the holes are giving the air a place to go because there's trapped air, and that's what makes it explode. And the reason why I can't just add all this in at once is because then I wouldn't be able to attach it. So that's why I'm adding little pieces. They also make it look a little bit more like rocks. So you can see I have my kind of rocky soil. If you really want to take your time, you could kind of sculpt it with your tool to make it look a little bit more like dirt, right? You see how I'm using the toothpick to kind of push it apart. Looks a little bit more dirt-like, and that still is giving me enough air bubbles. So when I'm ready, I can attach my cactus to my clay. You can always add more too. That's the thing about clay. Until it's dry today, you can keep adding on to places even if you thought you were done. All you have to do is just make sure it's fully pinched on. And that's what I like the tablecloth for. I could press down really hard. It's not going to stick to this tablecloth because of the canvas. This I kind of built up all out of the scraps, right? So that's one way to make my cactus. Okay, it would look a little something like that once it's done. The other way is to take my extra clay and I'm gonna flatten it out. I want it like a pancake. I could carve my cactus. Okay, so that's another way. So now I've kind of done it lightly. It's not quite ready to peel off. I could press down hard to get these extra, edges. All these little pieces are very challenging, so you're probably gonna have to go back once you kind of peel away the extra and tidy it back up. Okay, so that's another way to do it, and I would just need to smooth it out with my hand like a mouth and smooth out all the little crumbs, because that way makes a lot of little crumbs. You see all these little crumbs? I want to smooth them away because that will stay on your final piece. Okay, so that's kind of two different ways to make the same kind of cactus. I could build up in other directions, right? Okay, however you want to do it. That way is thinner, right? And getting this to stand up inside your pinch pot is going to be more of a challenge for sure, because it's going to want to flop over even more than this one I made. Whenever you're done, and I still want to add more to this, but just to show you quickly, to attach it, I have to add texture here, okay, because if this was smooth clay and this was smooth clay, they're not gonna hold together. I need to add texture so that they're locked into place, okay, like a gear almost. So this already has plenty of texture. I use a paintbrush to add a little water on each side. So I'm adding it here and here. And I wanna push and wiggle, push and wiggle. That way I can pull this. Look at how it's not coming apart. I'm holding it up by this right here. Okay, it's fully attached, push and wiggle. Okay, it's doing a very good job of standing up on its own too. That would be how we could make our pinch pot cactus in a little quick demo. Okay, two ways. I think that this one is the one that looks more realistic, but if you're having a lot of trouble attaching, then you can carve it out like that one. Something else that's helpful when I have this kind of formed way instead of carved, I can take my toothpick and I can add a little bit more detail. That way it can kind of help get a crisper edge. The most important thing to remember, like yours should not look like this. They all look different. The most important thing to get from this is that you are making your pinch pot, adding designs on the side. You're adding your soil, okay, with like little rocks and pushing it down. You're adding air holes. And then whatever cactus or succulent that you make needs to be fully attached at the bottom. Okay, I am lifting this entire thing up by this added succulent or cactus, okay, because that's how attached it is. Okay, you don't want it to fall out.